I've learned, Hirsch, is like no matter what experience you have in life, you're bringing something to the table based on the experience you have. Sometimes we may think, is it relevant? But
Yeah.
all experience is relevant. Like it forms you, it shapes you, and it makes you who you are. And your collective experiences are not anybody else's collective experiences, right?
Martians landed.
Yes.
Wearing Prada suits.
Yes.
Drinking Henry Seltzer.
Yes.
Chewing juicy fruit.
Yes, and?
Your branding here.
Yes, brand.
Your message here.
Yes, and?
A verse about
Yes.
your product here.
Yes.
I'm Hirsch Redford.
Yes, and?
I'm a message therapist.
Yes.
And I have a podcast.
Yes, brand.
That's right, that's it.
Yes.
We'll help you fix the world.
Yes.
Or your bottom line.
All right.
Your bottom line.
Get it. I get it. Welcome to the Yes Brand Podcast.
Who is in the hot seat today? It's a voice actor, but not just any voice actor, an accountant turned voice actor in the form of Renée Besson. She is joining me here on Yes Brand, and we are going to have an awesome time speaking today. Welcome, Renée.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Hirsch. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you. We are going to talk about, we were just saying this, that there's a lot of people that transition from one job to another, especially in the past few years, what it's like to step out of corporate, and in a way, then stepping back into corporate in the sense that a lot of your clients, Crisco, Greenpeace, others, are big organizations. So,
Hmm.
so a lot of the voice work you're doing is for big clients and so forth. So, anyway, tell us a little bit about your early life.
About my early life. Yeah, see, I have very corporate parents. My dad worked for what was then Ontario Hydro, OPG, and my mom for Consumers Gas, which is now Enbridge. So utility companies, very corporate, straight-lined folks. But for me, I mean, like I did go that way, but I always loved performing. Ever since when I was little, I took ballet lessons when I was like 7 and 8, and I loved my recitals. And as I grew up, I had this habit of loving performance. I was even mimicking people. Like when I was in corporate, I used to mimic our boss when he would send an email. My coworkers would come into my office and yeah, do the boss doing that email. You know what I mean? Like if he were to actually be saying it to us. So yeah. So basically, in a nutshell, I had this corporate influence, but this natural desire to perform.
And sometimes that can cause conflict in a way. There's a couple ways it can be conflicting. One is, when you think about how you would do it in your office, you do it in your, make fun of your boss and all that.
Yeah.
But when like you and I, it's kind of a reflection of a little bit greater skill beyond just doing it for laughs or just doing it for fun. We can be a little bit conflicted about, what should we be
Yeah.
doing? What should we be doing? Uh, what's going to be the biggest contribution that we can make? So I gather there was some of that too, a little bit of a hole in your fulfillment.
Yeah, absolutely 100%. I know you and I have talked about that before because you kind of go the way you're groomed to go because that is the traditional route, the safe route, the route that pays. But yet you do feel, I am a round peg in a square hole or
Right.
vice versa. This is not totally me. But for years and years and decades, Hirsch, I went along with it because it was paying the bills and it was, getting that done. So, you know what I mean? There was always work in accounting. I've never been out of work in that industry. You know what I mean? So you just kind
Yeah.
of stick with it, even though you're kind of like, I'm not really feeling this, but at the same time, it's paying the bills. And so
Right.
you go for a long time.
So what was
Really good that
the
long.
yeah, what was the trigger that kind of flipped that switch?
Yeah, so it was kind of like I would say it was multi-step. So there was a few years ago, we were for my place of worship, we were doing like large conventions and we had people coming from the US and from Europe and so on. And so I was asked to be the lead singer of a band. And I thought, wow, that's a kind of cool thing because that's another thing I always enjoyed, like singing at weddings and performing. And so I thought, okay, cool. Like, let me start. If I'm going to do that, let me start looking into some vocal lessons. So everybody starts off with the school of YouTube, which is good for a time. Then I
Yeah.
started meeting with some local in-person vocal coaches here in Toronto and took some lessons and whatnot. And I started really loving, learning to use my voice as an instrument. So that led to piano lessons and open mics and more performances. And so that was great. And then one day, a friend of mine, an old family friend, she was on a podcast similar to this, and I'm watching her and she's talking about how she had transitioned from corporate to become a
Uh-huh.
voice actor. And that was really intriguing. And I thought that's great for her, but I know nothing of the sort, so you kind of watch and then put it out of your mind. But then a couple months later, I actually ran into her and one of her colleagues in person. So I was saying, yeah, I did see you on the podcast. I thought that was amazing. And then they told me, you know what, if you're really interested, hey, we'll help at least get you started, show you what to do, what to watch for. So, like, knowing that you have that support, Hirsch,
Yeah.
makes the world of difference. So then I thought, well, you know what? Since they're willing to at least guide me some of the way, why not give it a shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what were some of the steps of first becoming proficient? You know, it's one thing to
Yeah.
have talent or even skill, but
Yeah.
proficiency, I've done a little I told you I've done a little
Yes.
voiceover stuff, but I have learned enough to know that it's a very highly polished, proficient,
Skill,
business,
really.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that is what I tell everybody because a lot of people ask me, so how do you get into that? And honestly, step one is get training. Get training. There's so many different genres of voice acting. There's video games, there's animation, there's corporate narration, there's commercials, there's dubbing, there's telephone prompts. It goes on and on. But
Right.
like, you kind of got to get a little bit of an overview. So I tell people attend like a workshop, do some training that kind of touches on various genres, and then you can see what kind of it is a fit for you. And then when you decide, then you can delve into that training that much more. But coaching is a big part of it. Any voice actor will tell you that we coach continually.
So now you've, made a little bit of a transition. Um, what,
Hmm.
what we love to talk about on this show, and you have such a unique uh, niche compared to anyone else that I've had on the show, but it always does come down to a niche or down to what makes you special, what makes your brand stand out. So for you, Renee, what has it been?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a few things. Like, I mean, I have a unique voice. I have like an alto voice, a deeper range voice. So for me, that's kind of one thing that is unique to me. So that kind of puts me in a niche in terms of voiceover that might be a little bit different. Like this voice is maybe not for certain brands like younger brands like CoverGirl, but
Hmm.
an older brand like maybe like a lawyer L'Oreal or Estee Lauder. Do you know what I mean? So
By
it,
the
it
way,
really
you just gave a great suggestion without realizing it for a wonderful brand of beauty and makeup for attorneys, and it could be called Lawyerell, not L'Oreal. But yeah, I do see where a little bit more maturity, so a little bit more maturity in there. Uh,
yeah.
what other things have you done that have helped be an indicator for what kind of work you should be doing?
Whatever things have I done that help be an indicator for the kind of work?
Like a project that you were awarded, let's say that you said, "Oh, I should do more of this," or I should play to this audience.
Yeah. So, when I did work from Thomson Reuters right from the beginning, I thought like because they support accountants and I was in accountants, it kind of made me think that I could marry that talent of having come from the corporate world to doing voice for the corporate world. So having said that, like my main focus for me is commercials and corporate narration. And it works because I have a lot of corporate experience behind me, right? And so it's kind of like what you said, like, yeah, you have that skill of that creativity of being able to voice, but you also have that professionalism of being able to work with and speak with the corporate personnel.
Yeah, that's great because, some people who have that, they may have that bearing, but they are actors. They are
Mhm.
performers. They're not just natural performers, but they've been professional performers their whole life. So when they are doing certain voiceover, they're not necessarily speaking from a place of experience. They know how to play it. But
Right.
you actually have the personal experience to bring that gravitas or that expertise to the performance in a way that perhaps an actor or a lifelong, professional performer might not.
Yeah. And that's always the good thing. Like sometimes you think, well, oh, I'm not, sometimes I've thought a lot of people in this space, their parents were actors or they've been in theater or they have that experience, right? But something I've learned, Hirsch, is like no matter what experience you have in life, you're bringing something to the table based on the experience you have. Sometimes we may think, is it relevant? But
Yeah.
all experience is relevant. Like it forms you, it shapes you, and it makes you who you are. And your collective experiences are not anybody else's collective experiences, right?
Yeah. Have you seen that film Amelia Perez with Zoe Saldana and Selena Gomez? It's a
No.
musical thriller about an attorney who helps a drug dealer transition and do all this. It's very wacky. It's very dark. It
Yeah,
won the Golden Globe, and Zoe Saldana won the Golden Globe. But what's interesting about it is that it flips the perceptions of what people are supposed to be, what you
yeah,
would expect a cartel leader to be, or what you would expect an attorney to be and what they would expect their lives to be. And an interesting point that it brought up was as a woman, as a professional woman in a corporate world, which is where she starts, she
mhm.
felt like she was hitting a ceiling of her own. Have you experienced any of that in the corporate world where you felt like, part of the reason you might want to do something more creative is because of some of the norms or inequities in the corporate world?
Um, yeah. And honestly, here's the thing, like when you're this deep in and you're really not feeling it, it's like, why go deeper? Do you know what I
Oh
mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
you hit that thing and you're kind of like, I mean, I'm in terms of like finances, I'm making a decent buck. I'm covering, I'm good there. So like it's like,
Right.
yeah. And I mean, absolutely 100%. You see those inequities in that space all the time. That's just part of it is what it is, right? Like,
Right.
but yeah, for me, I would say the whole thing is like, yeah, like I felt like why get more invested in something that I don't feel is a fit for me.
Mm. That is a really good point. Um, and speaking of that, looking ahead, looking at this year, 2025, we're recording this in late January. It's going to be probably early February when people hear it, so it won't be that
Mhm.
much more longer between recording and air. What are you either looking forward to or aspiring to with your professional brand in the coming months?
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to putting myself out there, more brand awareness. I've signed with an agent, and I'm thrilled because she's putting me in front of opportunities that I wouldn't have received otherwise. So that's a big deal. And just really like strategic networking, like networking with people in the industry, or getting to know ones, just putting myself out there and having more experiences, like I mean, there's the glamorous part of it, which is like doing the work or saying, hey, showing people, hey, look at this commercial that I voiced. But then there's like the behind the scenes where you're like doing cold outreaches and trying to reach out to people in the industry and say, let them know, hey, I'm here and this is what I can be. That part's not so glamorous, but that's what gets you to the part where you want to be, right? So it's a
Yeah.
process, Hirsch. So really for me, it's just this year is just focusing and digging into that process, just continuing on this journey.
Well, it definitely is something that, and I think every career has that. You want the glamorous part, which is could be anything in any career. We were just talking about coming off the marketers cruise that I was
Yeah,
on, where, you know, that is heavily the networking, partnering, getting to know people. Yes, in a beautiful environment. So it has that wonderful kind of cruise ship environment that puts people at ease and allows them to have fun together. But
right.
it's it's the funnest part, I think, for everyone is the job that they do, not the networking, just networking. Even if they're
Yeah,
great networkers, it's
yeah,
like, the real joy comes from the mission, from the job they're doing, and that you don't get to do until you meet all the people you need to meet, put your
yeah,
message out, get your message sharp, and then be able to somehow rise above anyone else who's doing anything similar, to distinguish yourself. It's not about competition so much as it is about individualization, I think.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know?
That's so true, right? So you kind of got to find what makes you you and then go for that, right? So
Yeah. Well, as
I
we oh, go ahead. What were you going to
No,
say?
I was just going to say, like, I mean, for me, like, I find like, being me, I was saying to somebody else recently, like, the more I lean into my natural self, the more I feel that others are comfortable or attracted to you and who you are and your story, So
Yeah.
I feel authenticity is a big deal.
Yeah. And I think that what I often tell clients that I work with on their personal brands, I'll say, don't discount the things that you may think are not related to your new job,
Mhm.
your new profession or your new mission. Everything you've done in your entire career, your entire life, every
Yeah,
day, it's all part of that pastiche of your personal brand. It's all part of your humanity that you bring to the party, and it's part of what makes you different from anyone else in the world. So don't toss anything aside. Think about yourself as the whole, not as, just the piece that your client or your
yeah.
aspiring customer wants. Um, as we kind of circle back around, based
Hmm.
on all of that, your experience, your life, your career choices, if you were speaking to a young person today who's just literally just starting out, they're
Yeah.
in their 20s and they're just starting out. Maybe they're in college, maybe they're not. Maybe they're doing something else. What advice would you give someone who's looking to make it in life?
Yeah, I would tell them honestly, really be in touch with yourself. Think about, A, what do I like to do? Now, what's practical? Like, what can actually generate revenue? Those two things together. Like, you want something that plays to your strength, whatever your strength is. So
Right.
sometimes when we're that young, we don't even know. Like, I remember when I came out of high school, I had no clue what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? So, like, taking the time to sort of like getting to know yourself. If you can have a mentor sort of guide you and say, hey, you seem to be inclined this way. That's awesome. If it's your parent, if it's someone in the community that has a little more experience than you, someone. But I would definitely say those two things. You're looking to something that can actually generate an income for yourself and something that plays to your strengths.
liked the show,
Yes, and
it worked for you,
yes, then
subscribe and leave a
yes, friend.
5-star review.
Yes, friend.
Tell all your friends.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Did I make it